We're into the final stretch of the Indycar season now, or the anal stretch, according to the series itself. Anyway, after a cracking season so far, the thrilling title battle between Alex Palou and Alex Palou was going to come to a head at Portland International Raceway. This ended up being a rather jam-packed one, full of controversy, more controversy, and Santino Ferrucci. So a perfect time for me to pick up a lovely case of heat stroke and be 2 days late getting this video out. We've got no time to waste then, but I'm still going to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you end up enjoying the video. Now roll that title card.
I feel like you're in a pretty good position. You get a massage.
I'm vulnerable. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
So, news time then, and we start with the Department of Homeland Security. Now, just stick with me on this one. ICE's X account made this breathtaking display of genius to announce their apparent entry into the series with a branded Indycar by no means generated by an AI model whatsoever. A bit like this sentence when I ran out of ideas for this bit. The strange nature of this aside, what really made people resonate with this post, well, shake with pure rage anyway, was of all the numbers the AI could have picked, they went with number 5, or Pato Awards. The one Mexican driver on the grid. Granted, it looks like he may well have bigger problems at the moment. IndyCar was still quick to issue a statement distancing themselves from the Speedway slammer, and after 48 hours, the post was eventually removed. Oh, never mind, they've just put up another one. Elsewhere in the news, here's a baby getting waterboarded. That has no relation to anything else in this video, I just found it funny. And it's livery watch. David Malukas running an alternative shade of blue this weekend, the Gallagher Chevy colours moving over from Penske to Foyt, in the hope that they might just remain on screen for more than 5 laps this weekend. Elsewhere, Felix Rosenquist is still running the Ozzy Osbourne tribute, complete with a new sticker on the rear wing, which says "F*** you, Kiffin Simpson." Speaking of the man from the Cayman Islands, he's sporting the return of the Ridgeline green. And finally, Devlin DiFrancesco gets to drive around in the Dogecoin livery this weekend, just in case you thought he wasn't hated enough. At the end of the day, the only thing that really mattered heading into Portland was what this series' GOAT Stingray Robb thought of it all. So, tell you what, let's just ask him and find out. Who do you think is going to take top? Obviously, Stingray is my top prediction for P1, but what would you say if you had to give a top 3 for Portland? What would you go with?
Oh, man. I don't feel like it would be wise to bet on anyone else other than Alex Palou.
Fair enough.
Man, we're witnessing one of the greatest drives in history, in my opinion. The man is a machine. He's precise. He's perfect. I think the only 2 mistakes that he's made all year happened at Mid-Ohio when they were at front and center, and they're the reason they lost the race. But he still finished second. I mean, he's like a cockroach. You just can't kill the guy off. Other than that, I would say the Penske cars looked pretty solid last year. Will Power, Santino Ferrucci, obviously, my former teammate, did very well there. I think that we can expect that again. I think that they would not vary too much from that. And obviously, not a lot's changed. The tires are similar. The hybrid unit's similar. So whatever package they have figured out seemed to work really well there. So, yeah, maybe a couple of the Penske guys. And, I mean, honestly, I think Scott Dixon. He's another one of those cockroaches that just is always knocking on the door, and you're like, how did he win? Where did he come from? We didn't hear about him all weekend, and he just shows up and wins the thing. So I think that those guys are all some of the best that we'll ever see. And it's been super fun to kind of watch Alex Palou's run here because, I mean, at some point, it transitioned from cheering against him to cheering for him a little bit because it's like, okay, I want to witness history being made, the greatest of all time. Could it be him? I don't know. But it's looking pretty impressive right now.
So yeah, in case you've been living under a rock for the last week, I got to speak to the man himself over on my podcast channel Talk Shift. The guy was an all-round legend, and we had a few laughs over there as well, while I tried not to myself for half an hour. The full interview is linked in the description below if you want to go and check it out, and while you're there, why not subscribe to Talk Shift as well? Anyway, on to first practice. So while Laguna Seca's opening session was interesting, things were a little more subdued as we got underway in Portland. This would be a big weekend for championship leader Alex Palou, who could very well wrap up the title if he remained after the weekend 108 points clear of technical title rival Pato O'Ward. We could build a load of tension around that one, but I'm not sure there's much point. Instead, practice would open with the IndyCar officials remembering Kiffin Simpson still exists and hadn't been penalised for killing Ozzy Osbourne a second time last time out in Monterey. He was thus handed the grid penalty for race day alongside Catwoman, for doing this at Pato Award. McLaren's issues then continued with the 6 of Nolan Seagull, which rolled off the truck and proceeded to kill itself. Unfortunately for the McLaren team, his engineers were able to fix the problem. We then got our weekly installment of IndyCar practice sessions being interrupted by weird shit. Recently, we've had tornadoes, pool noodles, and clouds, and now what appears to be Iron Man's cock in the middle of the track. And Scott Dixon's off too for some reason. That brought out an early red flag. When we got back under green, here's Santino Ferrucci making it through the final corner. Damn, I wonder if that'll be relevant later on. If you haven't worked out, not much really happened in first practice. Catwoman took the top spot from below, his goat ray in all his eternal glory. Now let's move on to practice 2. That all started with Will Power spotting some lovely flowers on the exit of turn 6 and resorting to plower mode as he violently murdered them on his way to P4 in the timings, in what was an overall strange session for the Verizon Chevy. Here it is again, watching the ghost car of Colton Herter commit seppuku. That misfortune then seemed to extend to the rest of the Penske outfit. Here's Joseph Newgarden being pulled off pit road for the first time since, well, that time we're not allowed to talk about, and here's Di Francesco getting the Dogecoin car some airtime, bird watching as he spotted the rare Scott McLaughlin variant to his right. Berta would top practice 2 with below in hot pursuit. The other championship challenger was being fisted by Foster. Let's move on. Qualifying was going to be vital round here, a message that didn't appear to make it to Robert Schwartzman, who said hello to the apparent 5 fans that showed up to Portland on Saturday and brought out yet another red flag in Group 1. That left us with an effective 1-lap shootout to progress, Malukas delivering the goods to go through, albeit only just, as a late surge from Alex Rossi bumped the 4-car to 6th and relegated Scott McLaughlin into the drop zone. As he went to get his head cut off and VK suffered the snap of all snaps to end the session, we could see what Group 2 had in store, and more drama as it turned out, Devlin Di Francesco looking good for once. Order would soon be restored as the Doge car was put down in the dying seconds. Joseph Newgarden, the executioner, who got to breathe a sigh of relief as he made it through, pretty much summing Penske's nightmare season up. Crucially, both our title hopefuls were into the Fast 12 as well, and then the Fast 6, as Newgarden hoped to join them, though I was a little distracted by what's left of Tin Cindric's brain matter sliding across my screen. He'd end up confined to 9th as Alex Rossi missed out on the final session by just 1700ths of a second. That left O'Ward, Palou, Rosenquist, Malukas, Catwoman and Dementia to fight it out in the battle for pole, which was about to get a lot more exciting when the series leader decided to let someone else have a go for once. Power would thus set a target of a 58.6, only to have that beaten by, well, pretty much everyone. The McLarens would therefore dominate, Lundgaard ahead of O'Ward, only the Danes still had that engine penalty, promoting the Mexican into P1 for Sunday. Hey, maybe this title fight is on after all. Alright, now bear with me as I just go and quickly f*** myself.
Start your engines, everybody else, hang back a couple laps.
So after a totally non-biased command, we were ready to go racing for round 15 of the season, and the first big hurdle for Alex Palou would be turn 1, which has had this little habit of killing people over the last few years. O'Ward thus led Rosenquist into the Valley of Death, only for everyone to make it through to the other side. Christian Hamasmussen risked disrupting that balance one tour later, however, as he sent one down the inside of Di Francesco, that move being enough to scare the next car of Ericsson into actually being good, the Swede passing the Ganassi of Dixon to put some space between him and the terrorist. Otherwise though, all of that pre-race hype kind of felt a little bit underwhelming. So much for that 87% chance of a caution the first 3, that, oh, never mind, thank you Santino. So remember Ferrucci taking that final corner from earlier? Well, apparently all that practice meant sweet all at the start of lap 3, though he at least got this mega move from Goat Ray on our TV screens, and I don't care if it's on Jacob Abel, I still think that's pretty good. We go again on lap 7 then, as the field survived turn 1 once, or apparently not, I spoke too soon on that one. With Foster and VK getting to play with each other at the back then, we went under caution again, because I guess Fox wanted another advert break, who knows. Take 3 on getting this one underway would take place on lap 10, Rosenquist doing a much better job to stick with leader O'Ward this time, as the other McLaren of Lundgaard made it past Malukas for 5th, and Hamasmussen inspired another ailing driver in 2025, this time it being even more impressive as it was one of the Penskes, Newgarden wanting none of this and making a move on Dixon in the opening stages. Christian meanwhile was left in the clutches of Connor Daly, which, fair to say, he didn't like very much. This was double trouble for Juncos. As much as I enjoy seeing Stingray on my screen, I don't enjoy it as much when incidents like this cause him to get checked up and lose out on all this progress thus far. Thankfully, Connor was there to enact my revenge as he went after the ECR ahead, nosing one down the inside at turn 1 before the terrorist showed the 78 how to do that properly later on in the lap. With that hit, leaving Connor wondering what time of day it was, and having both AM and PM on his car probably didn't help out much with that. The cautions were out once again, and IndyCar officials came to the conclusion that Hamasmussen had done nothing wrong whatsoever. Guys, I don't know what opioids you lot are on, but I'd like some if you have any spare. Many an advert break later, we were green with a completely different running order. Power now leading Palou and McLaughlin. After I'm guessing some pit stops, I guess we'll never know. It was a great restart from the 12 though, as he left play fighting duties to the pair behind. Pato O'Ward meanwhile was on fresher tyres and battling his way back through the field, until the Chevy contracted death, and you know what, I'm starting to think this championship might be going the way of a certain Spaniard. As McLaughlin attempted to retain some of Fox's viewing figures, it was all hands on deck at McLaren. Look, here's Zach Brown falling over as they attempted to get O'Ward's car back into the field. A dodgy connection was eventually revealed as the cause, which we can put alongside faulty seatbelts in ways Alex Palou has won a title decider. Maybe Chip is just some ninja saboteur who's been working in the shadows all along. Nah, who am I kidding? We're all seeing that one coming. Back on track, it was lap 35 and Power was finally in for his first pit stop, and crucially ahead of Jacob Abel, who was more crucially ahead of Catwoman. That was rather important as far as strategy was concerned, as now Penske held the advantage for the first time since about 2024. The 12-car subsequent stint was apparently so interesting, a grand total of none of it made it to the extended highlights reel, so here he is in pit road once again, and coming out ahead of Lundgaard again. This is all looking rather good, isn't it? Only this was Will's last set of new tyres, and he'd had to finish the race on a worn set of softs because of, well, probably Penske reasons. Knowing them, they probably handed their new set to Malukas already. Matters would then get even worse for the 12, as the inevitable force that is Alex Palou had now also appeared, and had closed a 20-second gap to the leaders down to 5. The Penske curse then hit the 2 of Newgarden, as Dixon performed a mid-race inspection on his rear attenuator, and that was worthy of a penalty, by the way, making you all the more wonder how Hermasmussen got away with f***ing this. The 10 would momentarily get ahead of Catwoman, only for the McLaren to keep his foot in and hold on with 14 laps left still to run. That would normally be great news for Power, though he had a Ganassi and an ex-Ganassi driver in front of him. He'd lap those, and then his potential replacement for next year, David Malukas, which I'm sure didn't feel slightly good whatsoever. David then got his Penske interview in, keep Lundgaard behind at all costs, leading to Palou having a sniff and promptly driving off the road, which according to the Fox crew he still did stupendously. But with 4 laps to go, Power could start to breathe easy. The man who had scrutiny pretty much stapled to his arsehole all year was about to take his first race win on the season and prevent his Penske outfit from having their first win this season this millennium. That was essentially one big f*** you to all of Indycar. This guy still got it, and I'm not just saying that, listen to the man himself.
I don't know what you're thinking. Like, if you're actually waiting, it's like, yeah, is this guy, I'm not sure if this guy's good enough. Just go back to last year. You'll fucking know.
The end of the race was still a tad awkward, however, as while it was important to capture Power's win, we couldn't forget about the bigger picture here. Stingray got a top 15. Okay, you want me to talk about the 10 car, don't you? Alex Palou, a 4-time IndyCar champion. Now that's been coming for a while, but it's still worth highlighting just how dominant and brilliant a season it's been. And we still have the rest of the anal stretch to go. I'll of course be covering all that right here on the channel, so if you're still here, you probably quite like what I do. So maybe go hit that subscribe button now. Don't forget to check out my interview with Stingray over on TalkShift as well. A big thank you to the members and patrons who got to see that one early. And until Milwaukee, have a good one.